Welcome back to Living Free Forever. My name's Melody, and you're probably wondering what living free and termites have to do with each other. We've been doing some house hunting videos lately, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about termites. We all have the right to buy a house without it falling down around us. I think that's kind of part of the dream that many people have, is to own a home that is not going to be the money pit. So if you haven't seen the movie, The Money Pit, it's an older movie, but it's funny. And it's not so funny when it's your money, because houses, especially now, are super expensive. If you're going into a house without a safety net, you're going to be asking for trouble, because anything can happen, even a brand new house. Hopefully brand new houses have less trouble, but I wanted to talk about the termites today. When we lived in Sarasota County for about 8 years, we didn't see too many houses that were tented. If you're wondering what tented means, it's literally a tent that looks like a circus tent that goes over a house that's being treated for termites. Often, these are houses that are made out of wood. So I did not see many in southern Sarasota County where we lived, because most houses were block. We are now in Tampa Bay area, and I see a lot of wooden houses, and I also see a lot of older houses. So as I was searching Zillow, I was looking at houses, in the description. I try to read it all if I can, and I noticed here in Tampa, some of the neighborhoods I was showing you have houses that were tented. I guess they have to tell you if the house was tented, so it'll be in the description. If you're in a flood zone, or looking at houses in a flood zone, I would be very leery about that. Not only flood insurance is going to be expensive, not only it's just going to be inconvenient for you to have to leave when it floods or you get stuck in your house, but also because when your house gets moist, those termites love moist wood. Even if you have a block house, because I found one that was tented on Zillow, if you don't take care of all those little cracks around your house, even on the slab, because most of the houses are on slab here, they will come up and find the drywall or sheetrock, depending on how old your house is, and they will eat your house. This can happen anywhere in the United States, so it's not just a Florida thing. This is one of the reasons I highly recommend, if you were to purchase or rent a house, go for block if you can. Not to mention that it's just sturdier in the tropical storms, hurricanes, and things like that. But I just wanted to show you this real quick. Nolo.com, and the reason I found this was because one of our viewers had this problem, and I felt really bad for him, and now he feels like he hates Florida, all landlords are bad, and this is not the case. It doesn't make every landlord or every place in Florida a bad place. This type of thing kind of just happens in life, where you got good people, bad people, good places, bad places. So the question is, we have recently been notified by our landlord that our apartment complex will be tented for termites for an entire weekend. Since we have no choice in the matter, I wanted to know if our landlord is required by law to pay for hotel accommodations for the period that we will be displaced. If so, what are we entitled to? Motel 6 or a weekend at the Four Seasons? And the answer, I won't read it all, but let's scroll down a little bit. If your rent is relatively modest, expect your landlord to divide your monthly rent by 30 and offer to pay you at this rate times the number of days you had to live elsewhere. The problem with this approach is that it may not cover even a modest hotel or motel and meals. A few words to the wise. If your landlord balks and refuses to compensate you, do not withhold your rent or deduct the cost of the weekend from the next rent check. So it's very important that you know this. Your only safe recourse will be to sue in small claims court for your expenses. If you end up in this unfortunate situation, point out to the judge that if the infestation rendered your unit unavailable, a court would have had the power to order the landlord to compensate you for your relocation expenses. So your chances of winning are likely to go way up if you could show the judge that you chose reasonably and did not take advantage of the landlord's repair problem by living it up at the Ritz. So, just be reasonable. And this is the other site, Trulia. That's another great site to look for houses. And someone also mentioned I had a question about termites. This is something I was telling you folks when you're looking for houses, and I know I had some people get upset with me because I was saying when you're looking for older homes, look out for mold, look out for termites, just look out for everything. Even newer houses. New house could, after it's built brand new, looks great, and it starts settling, and all of a sudden you have cracks, you know, in your walls and your floor and that type of thing. As far as older homes, I'm not trying to put down older homes. Older homes are full of character. They could be beautiful. They could be less expensive. And if you find a good one with good bones, you know, you could be set. But my concern mainly with houses that are tented, and I've been seeing quite a bit when I was doing searches on Zillow for these house tour videos I've been doing. So the question is, saw an otherwise great house today that had been treated for termites. Should this house even be on my list? And you'll get different people with different opinions. Inspections, 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 and I agree with that. It says, I remember my first time buying a house. It was pretty overwhelming. Back then, the realtors only represented the seller, and I was on my own. I would not strike this home off the list for the treatment issue. Actually, I would feel a little better knowing it was treated recently. If you are more nervous regarding this issue, get 3 termite inspection companies to look at it. In my area, they only charge between $50 and $70 or $75. But I wanted to read this particular post because this is something I would worry. Of course, I maybe worry too much, but you know, when you're spending a lot of money on buying a house, you have to worry a little bit, but this is a perfect example. Old post, but the question to ask and make sure is answered: what was the extent of the infestation? Where? What repairs were required, made? Then have inspector take a very close look at those areas. Remove sheetrock. Now, I don't know if you can do that when you're looking at a house. You can't just start tearing the house down, so I don't know what they mean by remove the sheetrock. Just because an infestation was discovered, treated, and eradicated does not mean that the extent of the damage was investigated, determined, or repaired. I have a home for 7 years that upon inspection determined infestation, treated 5 years prior. 3 days ago we discovered mold and rot on exterior non-load bearing wall after removing floor molding for renovations. Upon further inspection it was determined that the only thing holding up the wall was the sheetrock, a couple partial studs, and the brick veneer. Estimated cost of repair, including possible need to remove exterior brick, $10,000 to $20,000. Nobody wants to pay the cost. Not the original inspector. When the home was purchased, not the exterminator. Bond transferred from previous owner, and both annual and quarterly treatment continued uninterrupted. Or our homeowner's insurance. Serious problem. People say that the houses are fine. Probably most of the time, if it's exterminated and taken care of quickly, that there probably won't be a problem, but you just don't know. But you know what? Nothing is 100% as far as buying a house. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's new, old, anything can happen. It looks good. You get your inspection. It all looks good. And then a few years later, boom, something expensive comes along and you got to fix it. This is why I say, for those of you who think you could afford a house because it's the same amount as what you're paying in rent, or even less by $300 a month, you're thinking, well, that's $300 less I have to pay per month. There are huge expenses in owning a house. And I'm not even talking about taxes, insurance. You're cutting grass, your lawnmowers, shovels, weed whackers, those type of things. It's when your well goes bad or your roof needs to be repaired. And I mentioned this in another video. If your roof hits a certain age, at least here in Florida, and the insurance company says you have to replace your roof or we're going to cancel you, you have to come up with some big money. If your house is a decent size, it's going to be even more money. If you have a smaller house, the less it's going to cost you. But putting a new roof on is not cheap. And then, of course, air conditioning units go bad. And down here, they seem to be more expensive than back up north. I've been showing house tours or house hunting videos, and I don't want any of you to feel like, you know, you should be buying a house, because a lot of people think, well, that's what's expected of me. I'm supposed to get a house with a white picket fence with 2-point-whatever kids and half a dog and whatever the statistics are today. Don't let other people make you feel like you need to do something just because everybody else and all your other friends are buying a type of house or moving to a certain neighborhood or doing something or buying a certain car. You don't have to be like them. You be you. You know what's best for you. You know what you really like for yourself. And don't think, oh my God, the interest rates are going up by 0.2 or 0.5 or house prices are going up or down. You have to buy when it's right for you. You know what's happening in your life. Are you getting married? Are you getting divorced? Are you going to have some kids? Are you going to stay put for a while? You might move in a year or two. There's a lot of scenarios why you would want to buy a house or why you would not want to buy a house right now. And again, you need to have that extra cash. I know you think, well, my husband and I, we make X amount of dollars and we can afford this house. What if one of you lose your job? And you're like, well, there's no way I'm going to lose my job. It's, I don't know, in the medical field. You could lose your job. You might have to get another job and you might not have any problem, but it might be for less money. And then that extra money you thought that you were saving by buying a house becomes a burden. And then houses start going into foreclosure and bankruptcies and all that. And we don't want to see you go through all that. It's a very stressful thing, especially if you have small kids or if you're in your retirement years. This is the last thing we can afford to do is make any huge mistakes. I should just make another video about the cost of owning a house, but I think most of you who've owned homes know what I'm talking about. For those of you who have not, instead of just reading the positive aspects of buying a house, because that's what you want to read and it gets you all excited, and it is exciting buying a new house, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but also read all the things that could go wrong. And I'm the last person who's like negative Nelly here. I'm always positive and looking at the bright side, but I also like to be realistic and look at what could happen. Read the comments from people who've had trouble and what trouble did they have. It kind of helps you, educates you as far as what you should avoid, how you can avoid their problems, or their problems may not even be a problem for you. So I think it's real important to learn a little bit about everything, hear everybody's side of the story, and you'll be better off in the long run. As far as the termites go, it's very important that, again, if you can go block in Florida, go block, stay out of the flood zone. Keep any wood away from your house. Fill in any cracks in the walls of your house. I mean, keep an eye on that house. If you're renting, one of our viewers made a very good point in the contract to find out what is your responsibility as far as repairs on the house. And if you need to get out of the house for a few days, how they will compensate you. If you have firewood, keep it away from your house. If you have any water sitting and coming towards your house, try to maybe dig some ditches or somehow drain the water away from your house. Keep your house high and dry. As far as termites go, I would hire a professional to prevent it. Even if you have a house or buying a house that does not have termites, I would highly recommend that you have it taken care of by a professional who knows how to handle termites. And then I want to put a link down below of a video on YouTube that will show you a miniature house being eaten up by termites, how fast they could just eat away. And the thing is, usually you don't see them. They're under the floor, they're in the walls, and you're thinking your house is looking good, and next thing you know, things are falling apart, and it can happen very quickly. So please do your own research on termites and how you can protect your house. It's a big investment. If you want to call it an investment, it's your home, it's your place to live, and you want it to be safe, you want it to last a while, you want to retain the value, so if you do go sell it one day, that it's worth what you paid at least. So take care of your home and it'll take care of you. So I just wanted to show you a couple of houses that are on Zillow for sale that were tented. I'm not saying not to buy a house that was tented. I just want you to make sure that you just double check everything. It was built in 1918. It has a brand new air conditioner, completely rewired, brand new roof, new interior paint, new exterior paint, new flooring, close to downtown, near the bus routes, which is wonderful, and then tented for termites within the last 2 years. Yes, you could have it inspected. I'm sure if it was tented, the termites are gone. My only concern with a house that was tented was what was the damage behind all the walls, under the floors. And it's hard to tell without tearing everything down. So maybe they were able to tell when they did the electrical work. I don't know when they did it. So just do your research and know that that's something that they need to tell you. This also is another house that was tented, I believe. Charming 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Let's see. New AC installed in 2011. I love when I see new roof, new AC, or new flooring. That's an expensive thing to have done, so it's nice when you see that. Alright, so new roof installed in 2007, and house was last tented in 2005. Again, you know, there's a lot of good about the house, but in these older houses, and any house, if there's any little cracks, those termites like to come in. And this is the last house that I want to show you. Again, it's in Tampa. It's 1926 old Florida craftsman home. Looks really pretty. It's in Seminole Heights. It has a brand new deck. Unfortunately, I would worry about it being it's wood. I know it's treated, but it still concerns me. This house has a lot to offer, but you should know, you should read all of this very carefully and make sure you know that if a house was tented or anything else the house might have, like asbestos, Chinese drywall, that type of thing. They have to tell you, but maybe they tell you in words and you're not reading everything and you might miss out. Just tented and comes with a transferable warranty. So that's important to know. I also, around my house, did not use wood mulch. We used stone. I just did everything in my power to keep wood away from my house at all costs, because I did hear about people having termite problems. I read that even block homes can have termites get into them because of cracks if the house is older and you're not, you know, taking care of the home and making sure you fill in the cracks. They'll get in somehow. But look how nice this house is, and I'm not saying, again, not to get a house. I'm sure the termites are gone. The only concern is what was the damage underneath everything. Maybe there's some reports that they did tear down some of the sheetrock, drywall, whatever it is the house has, and that would solve your worries to know that they did take down and look behind the walls and made sure there wasn't any serious termite damage, or if there was, that they had repaired it. Boy, that's a nice house, isn't it? Yeah, I would, if you were interested in a house like this, I would definitely go one step further and find out what kind of work they did to confirm that there was not further damage on the interior of the house. But it's really beautiful. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, please share, don't forget to subscribe, and most importantly, don't forget to live a passionate life.